Yo, what's up, man? This is Manuel Godoy, Black Sands in the house. We're about to have a good freaking time because today we're going to be talking about this new podcast I'm about to do. First of all, everybody here, what state are you representing? I want to see it in the comment section. I don't see your state in the comment section. It's over. I don't see you in the comment section. It's freaking over for you. You understand? But yeah, we're having an amazing time today, man. We're going to be talking about the new podcast I'm about to do. I got all my equipment. I haven't set it up yet, but it's about to be lit. And Hydrus, my artist, just sent me my new art for the podcast. So this is going to be what the podcast emblem going to look like. Now tell me I ain't trolling with this one right here. I just saw it myself. I literally just saw this 2 minutes ago. He uploaded it right before the freaking YouTube episode even began. So I just saw this and I'm dying, bro. I am dying right now. This shit looks funny as hell, bro. So this class, what we're going to be doing today, is talking about potential topics for the podcast. All right. So all you guys here who are aspiring entrepreneurs, right, who are out there trying to make something for yourself and want to get some dimes, this is the time to go and explain what you want from me, baby, and I got you. All right. So first things first, let's go ahead and let's talk about what this podcast is going to be about. So the first thing, the podcast is going to be about publishing. All right. So this is about book sales. This is about conventions. This is about contracts. This is about all the scams that are in the industry. We're going to be talking about the business side of book publishing. That's all the publishing, the podcast is going to be about. How many of you guys are actually excited about a podcast dedicated to the creative process and the selling side of book publishing? If you're excited about that, let me know in the comment section. Also, if you're excited about, the Kickstarter we're currently doing with their anniversary edition of the books, let me know in the comment section, and then we can begin with that. Anybody who has any questions at all, just ask them, and I'll pull them up on the screen so we can talk about that as well. And also, just let you know, there is a second podcast that we will be launching, but that'll be about 2 months from now. The second podcast that we're going to do, the first podcast is straight up lessons, right? We're going to teach you everything there is to know about publishing. But the second podcast is going to be a 100% lore-based podcast with a special, unique, never heard before story about Apetamak and Emisemi and their conquering of the Kushite Empire. So in other words, the Kush origin story with Apetamak and Emisemi and Black Sands, you're going to hear all that on a dedicated podcast. The podcast is going to come out every single week, once a week, and it's going to be a podcast about the story of Emisemi and Apetamak told in real time. You'll also be able to actually participate in that story and make decisions in that story that's going to affect the story in the future, because the writer is going to be a D&D person. They've been making D&D stories forever, right? And hosting D&D stories forever. So it's going to be made specifically for a D&D experience with Black Sands. And if that is popular enough, eventually we're going to have a rule book created for Black Sands universe so you can make your own D&D games in the Black Sands universe. Let's see. All right. So first things first, let's start with ideas for publishing. So there's probably a lot of creators who are already here right now watching me. So from the creators or possible creators in the future, what are some topics that you guys would like me to cover? All right. Give me some topics, and I am going to start listing them down on my Word document, right? So I have a good list of topics to go over in the first couple of weeks of the podcast. I'm going to be doing about 3 episodes a week, right? And it's a little aggressive, but hey, I got a lot to talk about. So I'm going to do at least 3 episodes a week, right? And we'll see where that goes from there, right? We'll see if we can get some traction. We'll see if we can get some heat, and then we'll go from there. All right, so here we go. We got one person saying marketing your comic. Now that's pretty broad. So there's probably going to be like 25 lessons in marketing your comic, right? Let's try to get a little more specific on the questions, right? Let's not go too broad, because at the end of the day, I'm going to have like 25 lessons on just marketing your comic, right? And each one's going to be 30 minutes long, right? So it's pretty broad. Make sure that your suggestions are a little tighter, because we want to make really good first episodes, right? Our podcast needs to have amazing episodes at the beginning, so we need very specific things. Now, here's one that I'm going to be doing that you guys don't even have to worry about. I'm going to do this one because I know it's interesting as hell, right? Partnerships. So that's one of them I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be talking about partnerships, the benefits and the cons of it. And I'm going to talk about a book that I had to basically kill in the past. I had to kill one of my own books because of a bad partnership and legal jeopardy that could happen if that book were to be successful in the future, or if the brand was successful in the future. I could be open to possible litigation if I kept that book alive. So I killed it in order to have fiscal success in the rest of my company, even though that book was successful. That book was selling a lot of books. So that's going to be an amazing episode. It's going to be very, very, very specific on copyright law, on contracts, and everything else. And it's going to have real examples from my real life, not fake. Nothing side handles. It's real. All right, let's see here. Let's go. I'm gonna pull up some of these right here. We got a lot of questions. So let's see. Building an effective email list. Now that's a pretty good one right there, right? So what we could do, we could probably have a 3-part story on building an effective email list. I like this one. Let me go and put that down. Building an effective email list. Now the cool thing about that is I think that we can get three like episodes on this one, right? So first it's how I built my, so let's go. How I built my list, right? How I effectively utilized my list, right? And also, what else? There's a third one in there. I don't know yet, so I'll just hold on to it. Okay, so building an effective email list, we got on the list right here. Good. Let's see. How to create a pitch. Okay, this is actually pretty good because I love Save the Cat. So I'm probably going to do a Save the Cat series, right? And Save the Cat series is, how to actually make your pitch package, right? It's very detailed on the pitch package. So we're going to go with Save the Cat series, pitch package development, right? And that's easily like 10 episodes right there. Guaranteed that's at least 10 episodes, because there's a lot of things to do when it comes to making your package. So we're going to be getting that real quick. Let's see. Cost of printing. Okay. So sourcing your printing. Sourcing your printing. That's a good one. And I have cool stories about that too. I have personal stories about sourcing. So that's going to be cool. Let's add some personal stories about stories about sourcing, the good and the bad. I like that. I like that one right there. Question to ask: if you were a 3D artist, what moves would you have made for success and Black Sands? Well, I'm not an artist, so I can't tell you, but I know I would have never did a partnership. I would have freaking, I would have paid outright for the scripts. If I couldn't write it all, I would pay for all the scripts so I could own the story, right? So I could own it, and then when I make my art and everything else, right, I would have full ownership of my art, right, and all the stuff involved. So if it does have success, I will be able to reap the benefits from it exclusively. So that's what I would do, right? The art path is a lot harder because you have a lot of time sink when you're making art compared to a writer. A writer can write a whole script in like 2 weeks, right? But it'll take you like 2 months to do a comic book. So that's what's up. This is a good one. I'll put this in copyright and trademark law, right? Copyright and trademark law. I'll put that in there. We won't do too many episodes on that. We'll probably do 2 episodes max, right? 2 episodes max. It's actually not that complicated. So I'm only putting like 2 episodes in there because I believe that's all we really need for that, right? But the idea is very simple, right? You technically have a copyright the second you begin like writing your story. And most people won't steal your stuff unless you're already successful. Like some random dude's not going to steal your idea, right? Write an entire script, make a whole bunch of comics, bring it to market, and do all these. There's like a million steps they have to do to make it successful, right? And then it's going to steal from a random person. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why people don't break into poor people's homes, right? They break into homes that have high net worths and high net worth neighborhoods. Why do they do that? Because they know the risk of doing all that work to break in, the risk of getting caught and being like put in prison are so high that the payout has to be high as well, right? They got to guarantee that they're going to have high success if they go through all that effort, right, and succeed. So they're not going to steal a random person's idea. That's Hollywood shit. And most of the time in Hollywood, the Hollywood stories about stealing stuff, most of the time they're stealing from other already successful people, right? So somebody's successful. They've done many scripts in the past, right? Or they're already going up the pipeline because of their previous successes. Those are the people that get their ideas stolen, but not the random dude with an idea. They'll never steal a random person's idea. It's too much work. It's too much effort. They need to see clear traction before they even try to steal. Let's see. How to plan out a season and character. This would be more of a creative episode, and we probably will have some creative episodes. I say I'm going to put that into the Save the Cat series. So the Save the Cat series is going to be very creative oriented, right? Save the Cat, and I think we're going to put that one in that part, right? The Save the Cat series, because that's all about creating characters, creating lovable actions, creating good guys and bad guys, and how to define your story. That's all that. And that's most likely in the Save the Cat series. North American rights versus foreign rights of publication. We're probably not going to talk about that at all because it's kind of pointless. You just say North American rights, and then you say foreign rights. That's it. That's literally all there is to it. As long as the contract says North American rights, that's what you're selling, right? If it says foreign rights or worldwide, that's what you're selling, right? So as long as those words aren't in there when it comes to licensing, that's it. There's no deep dive on that. You need lawyers though. Better have a lawyer. Vetting and hiring artists. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm probably gonna do a couple of that. So vetting and hiring artists. Yeah, that's a good one right there. Let's go and say 3 episodes at least. Minimum 3 episodes for recruitment. And let's wide this out. Vetting and hiring Labor. I think that's a better word. I think it's a better word to say labor because it could just so happen that you're hiring a writer, right? Or you're hiring a graphic designer or a manager. Either way, labor is labor, right? So, Reed Save the Cat. This is just a Reed Save the Cat. How you feel about writer's block? Writer's block, Save the Cat will save you from writer's block. How to pitch your comic successfully is a pretty hard one. I will tell you this, I have not been successful pitching a comic series. So I would not be able to tell you how to pitch a comic series, right? I can tell you what they're looking for, right? I can tell you what they're looking for, but the reality is, I'm not the expert when it comes to pitching content. Ooh, which platform is best to use for starting? The early stage, right? Early stage publishing. This is going to be a huge part of what we're going to be doing, all right? We're probably going to have at least 10 episodes on early stage publishing. All right? That's guaranteed. We're going to have at least 10 episodes on early stage publishing, and then we'll revisit it over time. Because I have a lot of stories from when we first started. Stories about getting in a kiosk, my kiosk experience. Stories about going to bad shows. Story about going to phenomenal shows, right? Story about scaling websites, right? And having to do like 1,000 packages by hand, right? And then trying to get a way out of that, right? Stories about, using the wrong printers or paying way too much for hardcovers. There's so many stories in the early stage that we're going to be able to go through. It's going to be very personal. A lot of money was wasted at the beginning because we try to figure things out. I think we're going to have a good time with that one. Oh, man, it's 1 billion comments. Let's see. How you launch your own app? Oh, launching a BSP Comics. Okay, launching BSP Comics. Yeah, let's do. I can do like 2 episodes on that. That's fine. I can do 2 episodes on that, and that's more of a request. I really wouldn't put it in here for like indie publishers, right? But it's definitely something that's kind of cool. So I'll put some in there. Effective TikTok videos. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm good at TikTok, but I'm not the best at it, right? I'm not the best at it at all. I think King Lion could be a guest on this one. So King Lions, there you go. Let's do that. King Lions TikTok roadmap. There you go. King Lion's TikTok roadmap. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get King Lion on here, and he's going to actually do that one. I think that'd be a good one because he's way better at TikTok than I am. I brought him on the platform, but he's just got better than me. And my audience is too broad as far as like the content I make because I have so many different products and stuff. TikTok rewards the same thing. So if you're gonna grow on TikTok, you got to do the exact same thing over and over again, and you can't double dip. It's going to only feed one. What gets an artist hired? That's a good one. What gets an artist hired? I should also put on there, here's another one for that. The hard truths about labor. The hard truths about labor is going to break a lot of people's hearts, but the bottom line is I have to be honest with you guys, all right? Because there's a lot of people out there who want to be artists in the world, and it's really sad to know the truth in the fact that art labor is literally such an easy to outsource field. It's just so easy to outsource. the competition overseas is just as good as the local stuff, but it's like 1/3 the cost. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just one of those things where most labor in the United States is basically outcompeted. They just can't compete. They can't compete. Now, writing's different, right? Because you want local writers. You want writers who understand the audience that they're writing for, right? But art's kind of a really bad position to be in as far as looking for commissions. You know what I mean? Let's say, would you say, this is a question, just a straight up question. Would you say it's wise to stay dedicated to one social media platform and let word of mouth go from there? Or is it better if on every platform and just promote the hell out of it? The idea is figure out which platform works for you as far as like which one gets you the most engagement, because, different platforms have literally different methods. So, for instance, if I do a lot of bragging on TikTok, right? I get a lot of haters quick. I get a lot of haters quick on TikTok if I do bragging. But if I do bragging on Instagram, I get a lot of praise. Because on Instagram, though you grow a lot slower on Instagram, the people that you actually get are your fucking fans. They're your fans, right? They're your people. So when you do a post, 99% of the people who are going to see that post are people who already follow you. Right? And maybe 1% or 2%, maybe even 3% are people who have never followed you before. On TikTok, you might have maybe 5% of the people who see your new post who are your actual followers. And 95% of it is going to be random strangers. And very random when I say random strangers. And that means that when you try to do content specifically about your brand, there's a high probability that people will actually not like your content than like it in the comment section. And it might go viral in the wrong freaking communities. So you have to have a different approach to TikTok than you do to Instagram. And that's just an Instagram versus TikTok thing. I'm not even talking about YouTube or any other platform or Twitter, right? I'm just talking about Instagram and TikTok. So pick the platform that works best for you from a results perspective, and then try to scale that. Ooh, networking. That's pretty cool. All right. Networking. And I'll subtitle this. What is it worth it? Right? So the idea is this, right? Is it worth networking? A lot of people do a lot of networking and hey man, I'm gonna help you out and you help me out and everything else. And we gotta ask, is it worth it? That's the question, right? So I'm gonna be talking about a lot of networking I've done in the past, whether it panned out to be anything at all, right? Or it was a waste of time, right? We're gonna be messy with this one, all right? But it's gonna be a great topic. It's gonna be a great topic. How to gain investors for production costs. You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that early. The best thing you're gonna be able to do is get Kickstarter money. Kickstarter money is not investment, it's pre-order, but it's good enough. It's good enough to get you going. All right. You got to have some money at the beginning, though. You can't just do nothing. You got to have some money at the beginning. Not a lot, right? Maybe $1,000, $2,000, right? But you got to have that to start. You can't just cold turkey start. You got to have that because you got to have professional work to get Kickstarter to work for you. The Kickstarter guide, yeah, we'll definitely do a Kickstarter series, right? Kickstarter series. By the way, now that we're talking about Kickstarter, let me go and let's go and check on the Kickstarter. Where is it at? Where's my Kickstarter thing at? There we go. So let's pull that up while I'm talking. I might as well go and pull up the thing. Hey, if you haven't backed our Kickstarter yet, please do so today. Just because I don't want you to wait to the end. Wait until the end. People can forget. So go ahead and back that Kickstarter. We have 733 backers. $124,000 raised, and half of our inventory has been sold. So if you want to get a piece of that, let's get it. Let's see what else. Yeah, logistics on Kickstarter. We'll definitely do a Kickstarter series. We'll also do a Patreon series. So we're going to do series on every platform that we ever raised money on. We raised money on GoFundMe. We raised money on Kickstarter. We raised money on Patreon. And we raised money on WeFunder. All right? So it's different levels to all this. But it's all different strategies. The strategies are wildly different on each platform in order to be successful. And we're going to do a lot of stuff on that. Okay? Now, this is the thing I need you guys to do, okay? You guys are here right now listening to me, right? When we start this podcast, I'm going to need you to go and share the hell out of it. Share the link to all your friends and family, right? Subscribe on whatever platform that you normally subscribe to for podcasts. Listen to it while you're driving the radio, and do a lot of reviews. I need thousands of reviews on my Apple account as fast as possible. The reason for that is very simple. We want to get onto that new and trending list as soon as possible, and we want to scale this up as quickly as we can, because if I'm successful with this podcast, obviously I'm going to do a lot more podcasts, right, on these topics, and that means everybody benefits, right? And more importantly, we get rid of the shadow ban, because there is a shadow ban right now that haunts me on all social media platforms. And I feel like this podcast will finally allow me to reach out to you directly. Every couple of days, I get to reach out to you guys directly and actually talk to you guys directly. And I feel like that's way better than anything that Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, has to offer. I don't think none of them offer nearly as much direct engagement as a podcast. That's why we're doing it. Let's see. We just released chapter 11. So chapter 11 is released on Patreon community. So the Patreon community just got chapter 11. And in all honesty, once this Kickstarter is over, because we got so much money coming in from the Kickstarter, we're gonna rush through the rest of the series, and we're gonna have the next 5 chapters done by Christmas. This one's gonna break your heart, man. This one's gonna break your heart. I don't think you want to hear this lesson, right? I'll do this one maybe a month or 2 from now, right? But y'all don't want to hear this one. This one will break your heart. Let's see. Been organic without paid ads. Okay, this is very important. Paid ads are an extremely important part of the funnel of how to make money. All right? Paid ads matter. Can you go viral? Sure, you can go viral. Can you sell products without paid ads? Sure, you can. But the overwhelming amount of sales that you're ever going to get is going to come from paid ads. So I'm going to break that down a lot, right? Paid ads, how to do them, right? And actually, I'm working with Mark Cuban's team on the digital side. So they're actually teaching me a lot of stuff right now on, digital content, how to set up your SEO properly, website design, all that stuff that I really didn't know that well, right? Like, I'm great at digital sales and digital marketing, but I don't really know the science behind it, right? I don't know the actual science behind it. What is the metrics? I don't really know that. I just have a feeling for it, but I don't really know it. So they're opening my eyes to a lot of things. Webcomic versus physical copies. Okay, webcomic, you'll be poor forever. Physical copies, you'll actually make some money. That's it. That's the reality of it. And I will do a series on that. I will do a series on web comics versus Web comics versus physical, right? Web comics versus physical. But think about it this way. How much money do you make if you get 10,000 people to read your book online? $0, right? How much money do you make if you get 100 people to read your physical comic book? 100 people. Not 10,000. 100 people. About $1,000. Let's say it's $10 per copy. $1,000. So while less people are reading your book, right? You've made $1,000 from those 100 people that read your book. Meanwhile, you have 10,000 people read your book and you ain't make no money. Oh, wait a minute, my bad. 10,000 people, you made 68 cents in ads. My bad. There's no digital versus physical. Physical wins 100% of the time. Here's a good question. So I'm going to keep giving you guys updates, but now that I have the official art, of the podcast, I'm going to upload the podcast page, right? And I'm going to start it up. I don't know. My first episode might be next Monday, so not this Monday, but next Monday might be my first episode. But first, I got to do a whole bunch of recordings, right? I got to test it to see the quality's right. Right? And if it's good, if it sounds good, if the lessons are strong, I'll probably launch next Monday. Right? And all I would say is follow the emails, right? Follow the freaking social media pages because I'm gonna be going hard on those. Partnerships, yes or no? It's definitely going to be one of my topics. That's going to be one of my personal topics too. So I'm going to be doing a lot of personal topics. And the personal topic is going to talk about real life stories, real life things that happen in my life that I'm trying to get you prepared for, because you'll see how I navigated it, whether it hurt me or not, right? And the warning signs I had when I was going through that process, right? What I was looking for and what I actually got. So it's super important, right? Hey, and just to let you guys know, if you haven't backed my Kickstarter campaign yet, that's currently going on, just look up Black Sands on Kickstarter and you'll be able to go to the campaign. We got 13 days left to back the Kickstarter. So if you can, please do so. Any support counts. Even sharing it on social media is a big boost for us. Evening all. Are you going to touch military style stories? You talking about modern day military stories? For me, I always wanted to tell the stories about the Cubans. Like I like the stories about all the Cuban stuff. I love Cuban history in general. So I want to say the Bay of Pigs. I want to talk about that story. I want to talk about the story in South Africa when the Cubans came down there to whip the shit out of the white supremacists out in apartheid. They went down there from Cuba, sent thousands of troops, ammunition, doctors, and everything else, and went down to South Africa and whipped the hell out of the apartheid regime. That shit was lit. That was lit. They didn't have to do it. They did not have to do it at all. They came because they were sick and tired of Europeans and they nonsense. And most Cubans at that time were black as hell. They still are. Like Cubans in Cuba are pretty black, and they're pro-black, hardcore pro-black in the government because everybody else left. They went to Florida. They all left the old regime, which was extremely racist. The old regime left and went to Florida and went to Texas, right? And the new regime, right? They were like, hey, we're gonna help all these South American countries, and we're gonna help African countries as well. Cuba did a lot of stuff, man. Fidel Castro got statues in South Africa. When is the most appropriate time to build a marketing team? You don't need one until you can't do it anymore. That's the reality of it. A lot of people will come to you soliciting. There's a whole industry out there of solicitors who are going to go out there and scam the hell out of you. You don't need their services until you simply can't handle it anymore. For me, like when you get a social media manager, why? I'm pretty good at it. I don't need it, right? Who's going to manage this, that, and the other? It really depends on if I simply can't do it anymore. If I don't have time to do it, then I'll hire somebody for it. But if I have time to do it, you're the best one for it. There's no guarantees in any of this stuff. So there's no guarantees in publicity. When they say, oh, yeah, I can get you into whatever. No, they fucking can't. They might. It's possible. But there's no guarantee that they're going to get you that placement. There's no guarantee that they're going to get you verified. There's no guarantee that they're going to get your Kickstarter funded. There's no guarantees at all. That's just the way the game works. And the contract will say that you're not guaranteed anything. But they're going to talk about guarantees. So it's important to make sure that when you're making a team, that first, you're way past the success point. So you're just simply trying to offload things that have worked in the past to other people, right? But if you haven't had success before, don't think that somebody's going to give you success in the future. Because a lot of companies, especially rival companies to me, who hired all these staff, they hired so many people to help them do social media. And then Black Sands beat the living bricks out of them. And they have a whole team dedicated to social media. But they suck. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees. Is Instagram boosting worth it? Yes and no. If you're trying to get sales, yes. If you're trying to get followers, hell no. If you're trying to get followers, hell no. Believe it or not, you'll get followers from your sales ads. So in other words, people who watch your ads, they'll also follow you. A lot of them will actually. You'll get a lot of followers from just running your ads. And they're actually pretty real followers. But do a follower campaign and you'll get a lot of bots. You'll get a lot of bots on a follower campaign. But if your campaign links go to your website to sell something or to get them signed up or something like that, you'll get followers as just a fall off. It'll just naturally fall off. The people who decide to click on your profile instead of go to the link, and they'll be like, hey, this is a cool dude, I want to follow him, and they'll follow you. So you tend to get more authentic followers by doing an ad to another place. And the ones that decide to go to your page anyway, they'll be the ones that are following you and actually will be real followers, not freaking bots. All right. So campaigns for websites, great. Campaigns for followers, hell no. Time frame and cost plan broken down into simplified steps. Are we talking about budgeting? How about that? Budgeting a comic book. I think that's what you're meaning. So I'm going to say that. Budgeting comics. All right? Budgeting comics. What does it take to start? That's a good question. What does it take to start? That's a good follow-up question. What it takes to start. Let's see. What it takes to start. Let's see. What else? Well, the thing about it is this. With podcast, you can get a deal if you get like 100,000 100,000 downloads a month, right? So if you get 100,000 downloads a month, which is basically people listening to your podcast, right? You can actually get, a pretty good deal with like one of these marketing companies for podcasts. But most subscriptions are not paid subscriptions, right? Most subscriptions are not paid subscriptions. So you have to think about that. You have to think about that when you're making your podcast. When you subscribe, all you're doing is simply saying, give me that podcast whenever it comes out, give me notifications whenever it comes out, and I'm gonna listen to it. That's usually what it means to subscribe to a podcast. I don't think there's a financial subscription. I don't know though. Maybe some platforms do, but I'm pretty certain Spotify and Apple don't, and they're the two biggest ones. If you're new here, that's okay, right? Go look at our catalog. Go look at our catalog. That should tell you the kind of content that we make. It doesn't change. So look at our catalog. What inspired the name Black Sands? This is a lore question from LinkedIn. So the answer is that's Black Sands. Black Sands is Kemet. So Kemet, Kemet, literal translation. Let me see if I can find that. Kemet. Yeah, so Kemet literally translates to basically black land or black fertile land, right? So it's the fertility of the land, the actual growth, right? So that's the literal translation of Kemet, right? But we all know that in Egypt everything's sand, and the fertile sand is black, right? So the sand next to the Nile Valley, Nile River, right, and the flooding, that's all black. It's all black from the nutrients of the Nile River going into the sand. So we just simply called it black sands, which is no different from black land, right? But black land probably didn't sound too good. So we said black sands, right? But all it says is commit. That's it. Same thing. Is Facebook worth it for marketing? Facebook's worth it for ads. Facebook is worth it for ads. Facebook for marketing, it's hard to scale on Facebook. It sucks. You can use Facebook groups though effectively. So you can join groups that are specifically made for Black people and do pretty good, right? Or comic groups or stuff like that, right? But as far as scaling and fan base building, Facebook's not the greatest place for that. Is it best to cast a big net? Nope. Simple as that. Super niche. Super niche is the only way to go. Logos don't build hype. So one thing I'll tell you is 100% logos don't build hype. What they do is set the set the tone for your professionalism. So in other words, if you see a really nice logo, you'll automatically assume it's going to be a nice book, right? So you get a nice logo for a nice book. If your logo is very basic, most people will assume that your book is going to be basic, right? So your logo is basically your standard bearer for how your comic series is going to be quality wise. Notice how Black Sands right there, right? That Black Sands logo right there. Look at how professional that is. You know, like that looks like a freaking show like title. You know, so just think about that when you're doing your logos. But a logo is not going to build you a fan base. It's just a standard bearer for how overall the quality is going to be for your series. Well, I just want to see a couple of success stories. All right. I understand what people talk about with fan base, but I just want to hear one or two success stories, like anybody successful on the platform, right? I keep hearing about doing that, but I'm on Patreon right now. I'm on Patreon right now, and I get $18,500 a month, right, from Patreon, and that's one of my low months. So I've been much more successful than on Patreon. But Patreon, I always lose followers every month just because natural like cards decline or something like that. So overall, unless I'm doing something special, my thing drops a little bit every month. But I'm still making a stupid amount of money on Patreon, right? And I'm trying to figure out what makes fan base, right? What makes it a good platform to be on? Because I have no examples. I have nobody. I don't know anybody. I don't see anybody who's having success on that platform, right? I'm seeing posts on the explore page, and they got like 3 likes. 3 likes. How are you succeeding if you can't even get reach? 3 likes. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the explore tab. So I'm just baffled. I'm baffled right now as to why I should put the effort in, right? When there's no real system in place for it to be a social media platform. Like it says, Fanbase says it's a social media platform, but as far as I'm concerned, from what I've seen, it's just a public Patreon community. So in other words, the post that you normally do for Patreon members, other people can see them as well. But there's no algorithm pushing content to other people. No algorithm like sharing it. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to teach how to set up a great Patreon? This is super freaking hard. I'm gonna tell you right now, Patreon is the hardest platform. It's actually easier to get investors than it is to get Patreon subscribers. Okay, okay, this is very hard, very very hard. All right, so I will be doing lessons on how I grew my Patreon community, but it happened overnight, man. This is the one thing I'll tell you. For 3 years, literally three, almost 4 years, for 4 years, the best I've ever done was $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month, and sometimes drop it 2,000, but it'd be about $3,000 a month. Only when I started raising capital, only when I started doing the voice acting and everything else, did I start getting burst of new patrons, because that was one of the barriers to entry in order to become an investor. I said, hey, I'm giving early access to my patrons. If you're not a patron when my investing round begins, then you're gonna have to wait until the public gets the link, right? So a lot of people signed up. So the reality is you need a really strong call to action and a decisive moment. You can't you can't get 20 patrons a month. That's not how it works, right? Every month you're going to lose a lot of patrons just because of this stupid system. Like their system's going to decline cards and stuff and never try again. So you're going to lose a good amount of patrons every single month. So going for 20 patrons a month is you'll never grow. Never in a million years grow. But if you can get 300 patrons randomly in 1 month, right? You got a chance. You can do that a couple of times a year, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, get a huge spike in patrons, right? And even when you're losing 50 patrons a month, right, on average, because you have 2,000 patrons, you're fine, right? But thinking about I'm going to get 20 patrons a month, it'll never happen. It'll literally be like you got 0 patrons that month, because people will always decline on the first of the month just because of the way the system works. It might automatically decline. The bank might say there's not money in the account at the time. Something will happen, and you'll be holding the bag. No, I'm not looking for any investors in Black Sand Studios, and Black Sand Studios is about to be closed out because we're about to sell the show Black Sands. We're about to sell this. Oh yeah, here's some pretty big news for all you guys listening right now. Just let you guys know we haven't done the official announcements yet, but since you're here with me right now, I'm gonna let you know. Uh, all our contract deals are done with the Sharks. They're now working with us, but more importantly, the biggest news about the Shark Tank deal is this: Kevin Hart is now the official executive producer of the Black Sand series. Period. Whether it's a movie, whether it's a film, whether it's a TV series or whatever, Kevin Hart is the official executive producer of the series. Period. Which means that in any negotiation, which someone's trying to buy the rights of Black Sands, they have to negotiate with the star power that is Kevin Hart. So they can't bully me because they would have to screw Kevin Hart, and nobody screws Kevin Hart. You understand? So you know, they could screw me out, like try to make a slick way to screw a deal over on me, but they can't screw him over. He has too many people, too many lawyers, too many managers to ever think they're going to screw him over. And he's now officially the big wig up top. So it's going down. It's going down in the next 3 or 4 months. We're probably going to have a deal for a really big contract on Black Sands. And with that being said, bro, go to this link right now. If you can, if you haven't backed our Kickstarter campaign yet, please go and back the Kickstarter campaign. Just go to Kickstarter, Black Sands. Let me give you the link. Let me give you the link real quick. Here we go. I'm going to give you the link in the comment section. If you haven't backed it yet, go ahead and back it. I really appreciate it. Let's get that algorithm working again, or at least share it on your social media pages. All right, if you're already back, share it on your social media pages. Let's get that ball moving a bit. And you know, I'm sure you're gonna hear announcements pretty soon from his team at Heartbeat, right, about our involvement and how we're going to market with Black Sands. Here's a good question. Do you still have creative control over Black Sands? 100%. 100%. I have never given up my control for anything. So I own everything right now, you know? And more importantly, the people that we have talked to so far in the industry, the big networks that we've talked to so far in the industry are open to me having creative control. They know that that's my starting point for any negotiation, is I have to have creative control. Now, what I don't have control over, or what I will allow others to control, right, is writing the script, right? Writing the script, producing and directing are things that I'm willing to give up. However, this is important. Oversight over the script, oversight over the characters, oversight over voice acting opportunities, right? So the voice actors or the colors of the characters, right? The representation of the characters. Anything that from that point, I can freaking, he said, I have oversight over. So if I see anything that even looks slightly suspicious, I can change people out. I can fire them. It doesn't fucking matter because I'm in charge of that. So I have final approval on all creative. I'll let other people make that creative, but I have final approval on all creative because I don't trust them. I'll just be honest with you. I just don't trust them. I don't trust them. They might try to pull some agenda bullshit in my story. I don't trust them one fucking bit. So the second somebody even thinks about putting some shit like that in my series, I'm just gonna fire them. I'm not even gonna like explain why it shouldn't go in. I'm just gonna fire him. And I'm gonna do it in front of everybody so that everybody there understands that go ahead and try again. Try it again. Try it again. Right? I'm not even gonna say why I fired him. Just you're fired in front of everybody. They're gonna be like, why'd you fire him? You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Anybody else got any bright ideas? You know, anybody else got any bright ideas around here about what a SAR is? About whether he's gonna be more likable? Oh, he'd be more likable if he did this. You're fired. You're fired. Anybody else got any opinions on how a SAR needs to be in the story in order to be likable? Wild stuff, man. Wild stuff. That's it. You're fired. Period. No, I'm not even gonna tell them why I think it should be. Right? People are like, well, what do you think? Why do you think it should? Yeah, I'm not gonna explain it. You're fired. You don't need an explanation. That's true. And we're going to be talking about that a lot in our podcast. So, guys, I am done. It's been an hour. So I'm pretty hoarse, right? I'm pretty hoarse. But thank you guys so much for being here with me. Remember, when we launched this podcast, all hands on deck. I need people listening to the podcast. I need people subscribing to the podcast. I need you sharing the hell out of the podcast. Literally share it to everybody you know. Tell them, yo, you gotta listen to this dude. This dude is the truth, right? And most importantly, read reviews on Apple, on Spotify. You leave a review, it means so much more than anything else you could do. If we have 1,000+ reviews in the first month, I promise you, we're gonna get to that top 1% quick. So just remember, this is your boy, Black Sands. Let me go and share it. Let me share this image again so you guys see it. Here you go. There you go, buddy. There you go. That's what my podcast symbol is going to look like. We trolling here. We trolling here. So we about to have a good time. You know this podcast is about to be a good time when you see a logo like that. Black Sands present the ultimate guide to self-publishing. First of all, before we leave, what do y'all think about this logo, man? What do y'all think about this podcast logo? You think this is gonna get clicks? So they say your logo will get clicks. You think this is like this? You think this one's gonna get me clicks? That mess is funny as hell, man. I can't stop laughing when I look at it. It's so out of character for Raw. Like Raw doesn't smile at all. So this is so out of character for him. Like people who are hardcore fans of Black Sands knows this right here. Why this is so funny. They know why this is so funny. You know them cats are gonna be mad when they see this successful and trending. They're gonna be like, but he's so mean. He's not a good person. You know, I'll be like, man, shut up, man. Nobody care about y'all. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate y'all. Y'all stay kosher, okay? Peace.